Ken Troop is the executive producer for Dungeons & Dragons Insider. Ken, welcome back to Gamer Radio Zero.
Thanks, Mike.
So what's been going on in your world? I don't know if you know, there's a thread. I know you know, but I'm going to ask it because this is a show and I have to do that.
Yep.
There's a thread called Where's Waldo, or I mean, Where's Ken Troop? And it's a little game people in the community are playing. So, you got anything to say for that?
I'm glad that I'm providing them with gameplay.
Yeah, it is, right?
Yeah, 2 months ago when we launched Dungeons & Dragons Insider, I made an initial push to be really active on the forums. I wanted to get information out there. It was very clear that a lot of people had genuine questions and needed to know more information about D&D Insider. My day job, you know, the thing that I'm dedicated to right now is getting D&D Insider out the door, usable in the hands of players to enjoy. Over the few weeks, as you and I talked about things, right, it became apparent I wasn't going to be able to devote the amount of time to the communication that I wanted to. So over the last several weeks, right, we've been really ramping up our communication plans, you know, having you post your communication reports, getting Randy involved more directly and having him be the new voice of D&D Insider and having him commit to and be doing those weekly blogs that people are reading and getting the latest scoop on where D&D Insider is headed. You know, having other developers, so Court Odekirk has recently been posting on the Compendium. DDA Monin, WotC DM, has continued to be posting, you know, and answering questions from people. We're trying to find even more people on the team who can devote a little bit of their time to just, you know, answering questions, offering perspective, shedding light on what we're doing, how we're doing it, why we're doing it. So again, I think that for me, the main takeaway was people really want information. People deserve more information, and so we're just trying to find all these different ways of getting that information out there.
So you didn't leave and flee to Canada?
I did not leave nor flee to Canada.
That was the rumor. And I just, you know, I want to ask the hard-hitting questions and find out, so.
Sure. Like Elvis Presley, I am still alive.
Still around.
Yes.
It did take a little while for us to kind of get things going.
He's dead, actually, huh?
I was just going to let that go, but that's fine. So we did take a little time to kind of start to get the information people wanted, and I know they want it sooner, and we wanted to give them as soon as we can, but it wasn't for lack of effort, or it's not that we didn't care, right?
Right, of course not. So I can understand from an outside perspective, were I on the outside, I'd probably feel the same way of when changes, you know, when the feeling is that a change should happen, it should happen immediately. Again, for us, it takes a little bit of time to work through, you know, how does this impact our regular schedules? How do we set up the things that we want to do long term and not just change it just because we know that there's a problem? So again, what I hope people take away from this is that they like the communication flow they're getting right now. They may not always like the information, but again, the point of the communication is not to offer all the information that people want to hear, it's to offer up that dialogue from our side so that people have a chance to respond, right? For example, when we did start the conversation a couple months ago about what our pricing structure was for the overall D&D Insider, we did get a lot of feedback of people saying, you know, this is great, D&D Insider, this whole package, okay, I don't really want the whole package. And I think, you know, from my personal standpoint, it's always been the case that I felt like once people saw everything that we were doing, saw the compendium, saw the Dragon and Dungeon magazine, saw the game table, saw the character visualizer, saw the character builder, you know, I guess I thought that by far the vast majority of people were of course going to want everything. Like, it was such a convenient package, it was such a well-priced package. And that may still be the case, right? But when people are saying loud and clear, and certainly when we don't have some of these things out for people to see, I understand even more, well, don't tell me what I want. Like, I'm telling you what I want, and there were definitely enough people saying that we took a step back and said, okay, you know, how do we want to go from there? And what came out of that was, in large part, the web content subscription plan, where we're offering the things that we're offering right now for free, the compendium, Dragon and Dungeon magazine, the bonus tools, and we're saying, okay, here's a subscription price at $4.95 a month that hopefully, you know, makes more sense to people. So just to highlight, right, that feedback and that dialogue does help, right? Like, a lot of times it is just us reading and reviewing and thinking and arguing and going back and forth about, you know, what we want to do with that. But ultimately, while it wasn't the sole determination, it did make a big difference in what we decided to offer.
One of the other things that people have talked about a lot, pricing was probably number one. was the virtual minis.
Sure.
I know we haven't made any decisions or any announcements of that, but can you just talk a little bit about how what the community has talked about has not been lost on you guys?
Sure. Not at all. I want to tangent a little bit from there to say that, just to give people some context for this, is that right now, as we've been telling everyone here at the Gen Con show, we're really focused right now on the character builder and getting the character builder out the door as soon as possible. People are using it. They're using it to print their characters. They're loving it. We're loving it. We really want to get this into the hands of everyone as soon as possible. After the character builder gets out there and we're happy with that, then we're going to focus on getting the character visualizer out. That's another thing we're showing here. People are using it. They're loving it. But we do want to do these things in sequence. So first it's the character builder, then it's the character visualizer, and then finally we come to the game table. For the people who really want the game table, I know that they really, really want the game table. We really want to get the game table out there. But it is the thing that is, right now third in our list of things to do. Once we get a little bit closer to releasing the game table, I think then we'll start to engage people with more information about specifically what we're doing about the virtual miniatures. What I will say there is, just like we heard people loud and clear in terms of wanting more options, not wanting necessarily to have to choose this whole grand D&D Insider subscription plan, and we made some changes as a result. We have certainly heard the feedback on virtual minis. It is not lost on us, and again, when we get closer to actually releasing the game table, we'll start engaging the community with, here's what we think we're going to do.
Awesome. What else have you thought about the show? What has been people's reactions?
Again, we've been showing off the character builder and the character visualizer. DDA, Watsy_DM has been showing occasional demos of the game table. Right, we're excited to let people get their hands on these applications and look at them and see what they can do. The character builder especially, I think, has been one of the hits of our booth. Right, people have been coming over right before their RPGA game saying, hey, can I please get my character printed out? I think even just as it stands right now, with only the player's handbook information, it's just such a streamlined and wonderful tool for the majority of our players to come in and use. I think that once we start getting dragon material in there, future players' handbooks, Martial Powers book, for example. Once you have multiple sources of information all within this one application where it's doing all the math, all the logic for you, I think once you create a character that way, it's going to be really hard for you to ever create it any other way, right? Like, this is the model we're looking at right now, is we're probably going to release it for the character builder itself for free. Like, whether that's a demo version, it'll probably have limited data. And then what your D&D Insider subscription does for you is it just gives you the most recent data updates, right? So that you are, as a D&D Insider subscriber, you are getting constant updates in terms of, oh, this is the new book that was released, oh, this is the new dragon powers or feats or whatever that helps me build my character. But that, one of the biggest changes in our model is that information is going to be free. Like, after you've paid for it, that information is yours to own in perpetuity. You're no longer going to have to be online to use the character builder, right? You download the app, you download the data, and now it's yours to use. You don't have to be logged in, you don't have to be online. Should you stop being a subscriber, you still get that information free to use in perpetuity. So
bottom line, listening to the feedback, making changes.
Yes.
Not as fast as I like on the message boards, but we are making progress.
No, I mean, yes, I do appreciate everyone's patience, and sometimes I even appreciate everyone, some people's impatience, right? Like, we know how passionate you guys are about this. We're passionate about this. We're all working really hard to make this succeed, and I hope people are starting to see some of the tangible efforts of getting some of these things out the door. We just launched the compendium update a couple days ago. Again, it's baby steps, but they're steps that are really constructive and steps that we're really excited about taking. So please do giving us that feedback. It really does help us, and we're glad to be doing this.
And if you like the changes, thank me. If you don't, blame Ken.
That's the way it works.
Ken True, executive producer, D&DI.
Thanks.
Thanks for coming on the show.